Voted number 1 talk radio show in Arizona.
Number 1 during your morning commute.
Number 1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And number 1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo. It is Monty in the Morning on Friday, January 8th, 2021. Week 1 in the books, Jake.
Yep.
Anything eventful happen this week? Anything going on?
No, not that I can recall. No. Nope.
Feels kind of boring to me, too. A lot to get to today, frankly. The NFL playoffs will have 4 locks for you. We've got to talk about this Kyrie situation in Brooklyn, the coronavirus situation with the Sixers. Urban Meyer could get hired in Jacksonville today. Sharif Shah got embarrassed on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And all of that only after you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you are watching this show on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Also, oh, by the way, if you are listening to this show on podcast, thank you. We've had a huge week on the audio version of this show. Thank you for listening on, mediums like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, iTunes. All you have to do, anywhere you want to find this show, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, podcast, just search The Monty Show. MONTY, The Monty Show. Let's start with the NFL playoffs, because I think we have an opportunity here on Saturday, tomorrow, to coronate another awesome team atop the AFC. Jake, I think tomorrow is a huge day for your Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge Buffalo Bills believer. I am somebody that thinks Josh Allen is one of the great young quarterbacks in this league, but I'm also a realist. If we're keeping it real, I am also a realist. I think he's young, and no matter how bulletproof to pressure you are, I gotta believe he's going to feel it a little bit. Are we going to see the coronation of Josh Allen tomorrow?
Yeah, I think you are. I think they have been to the postseason a couple times, before this season, and I think he's gained a lot of experience. And yes, he is young, but I think in today's NFL, being young isn't necessarily an indictment on how well you can play. Will he feel butterflies before the game? Will there be some of those? Yeah, I'm sure there will be, but listen, once these guys get out on the field, he takes that first snap, like once they're playing, it's go time. That all that goes away, and it's just simply time for them to play ball. And I think the thing here that I really like about this game is that the Colts are going to Buffalo. It's going to be outside, it's going to be cold as hell, and it's going to be a grinder of a football game. If this was in Indy, inside on a turf field, okay, maybe a little bit different. But because this is outside, I feel like that suits the Bills really well. And I just feel like Josh Allen is ready to take that step. He's played so well this season. He'd almost certainly be the MVP if Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, weren't doing what they're doing. He's right there. So I guess I have more confidence in the Bills than maybe you do. But this is a game to me that they should win this game. They should. It's time.
Well, I think it's a critical moment in time for Josh Allen and the Bills. And, I understand that there's a lot of people who really think that, hey, a guy like Phillip Rivers throws interceptions, turns the football over, the Bills are going to win this game going away. I would say not so fast. Not so fast. I think that the second quarter is going to be the critical part of this football game, because I think that's really going to set the tone. I mean, Buffalo's favored by just short of a touchdown, 6.5 points, and I have to think they cover that number.
Right.
I love the Bills in this game, not for just Josh Allen, but what he's done for that offense, what he's done for Stephon Diggs, who 1,000-yard receiver, 127 catches this year. Like, he had a monster season that we never even saw in Minnesota.
Yep.
He's become legit. But this Buffalo Bills defense is here to stay.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, that's the difference. It's in Buffalo, And I love the Bills to cover the 6.5, Jake.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that you should be watching in this game is how much workload does Jonathan Taylor get? I mean, is the strategy coming into this game going to be to ride him early and to allow him to really set the tone? Again, in a outdoor game in the cold, you would think that the running game would be something that the Bills would go with for a minute, but I could also totally see them just going with what works and what has been working, which is giving Josh Allen the football and letting him make plays. So, again, if I'm looking at this game, I would not be saying, hey, they're going to win this game because Phillip Rivers is going to turn the football over. That may happen, but that's not why they'll win the game. That'll only help them win the game. The reason they're going to win this game is because Josh Allen is playing really well. This is not his first rodeo in the postseason, and it feels like they as a team are ready to take that next step. As far as the score is concerned, I have no problem seeing them put up 27 to 30 points in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of those was in the running game.
Well, I think for sure.
Yeah,
I think for sure. I mean, I still maintain that you're going to have to throw the ball to win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think there's no doubt about it in today's world. If the running game plays a huge factor in the Bills and Colts game, Colts are winning that game. Because I'm telling you, Jonathan Taylor's legit. The guy can really run the football. And if he's running the football, that really opens things up for Phillip Rivers. I think that's a really good point. Frankly. But we'll see what happens here. I'm taking the Bills to win this game by 10. I think there's a lot of momentum there. Obviously, it's not going to be full of fans and it's not going to be lit, but the Bills Mafia is going to show up. They're going to jump off of RVs and break plastic tables, and they're going to do their thing. And I think the Bills are going to win this game by between 9 and 10 points. That's your official pick is what?
Is Buffalo, for sure.
By a lot, by
10.
Okay, so you're sticking with 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. Rams are at the Seahawks. The 12s will not be a factor. The Seahawks are at home. They're favored by 3.5. And it's interesting you talk about the running game because I also wonder about Jared Goff in this game. And I wonder how much the Rams will have to run the football to win. And remember, this isn't Todd Gurley running the football for the Rams into the Super Bowl. This is a team that uses multiple backs out of multiple sets to try and get the running game going. And I thought what was interesting when Wolford played last week for the Rams, he gave them a true running quarterback, and it was massively effective against Arizona. Mm-hmm. The Seahawks are going to win this game, but I wonder how the Rams come out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. I certainly, I think, Jared Goff is going to start. I really don't even think that that's in question as much as they want to downplay it. You can't tell me that Jared Goff is not starting this game. As far as his leash is concerned, if they get down in this game, I know this sounds crazy, but if I were Sean McVay, I would not hesitate to put John Wolford in if you're down in this game.
I wouldn't either.
Like if you're going in the half down by 10, there's real credence in bringing in John Wolford to start the second half and getting that running game going for him as a quarterback, getting the pass game going. Because the thing is with Jared Goff, or with any quarterback that's not a mobile quarterback, if you're not hitting the run game by handing it off and then you're not able to run play action, you're done.
Huge.
Now, a lot of quarterbacks are like Tom Brady. It's never been an issue for Tom, right? It's never been an issue for some of these guys like an Aaron Rodgers who is mobile, but he's not a running quarterback for first downs. But for the Rams and for Jared Goff is a statue back there. The guy moves around the pocket. He can roll out. He can do those things. But he's not running for first down the way John Wolford is running for first down. Now, the thing I will say is that the Seahawks defense is significantly better than the Cardinals defense. That's not even in question. So I'm not sitting here saying that what Wolford did last week is even an option this week. But what I am saying is, hey, if you're down by 10 and this defense is shutting you down and you've only got 7 to 10 points heading into the half, and they're in the 20s already, you've got to get a spark lit. And for Jared Goff, this is a game that, to me, could really affect his future in the organization.
But on the flip side of this game, look at the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
they need Jamal Adams to have a huge game in this game. They need Russell Wilson to be an MVP. You're not going to run on the LA Rams. They're one of the best run defenses in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And that's why DK Metcalf now becomes a vital figure in this game, Jake, because he's emerged as one of the top wide receiver weapons in the entire league.
Yeah.
I think DK Metcalf has been one of the best draft picks we've seen in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's a stud. He's a weapon. I think he's surprised a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're going to beat the Rams, I'm curious if the Rams just try to put Jalen Ramsey on DK.
I would.
Well, I don't know, though. You have a diverse set of wide receivers. Russell Wilson has shown that he is fine spreading the football around.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I would be so sure that DK Metcalf is his primary target. I'm not throwing at Jalen Ramsey.
Well, but that's the thing. So, when you're going up against a defense and a secondary that wasn't as good as they've ever been, but they're still pretty solid, if you're going to... If they put Jalen Ramsey on DK Metcalf and they just say, hey, you're going to play Jalen the entire game. Where you go, Jalen's going. Okay, great. That's fine if you're the Seahawks. There's still ways to get DK open. But at the end of the day, if I'm the Rams, I'm doing that. I want to take away as many options as possible. I want my best defender on your best player, and I want it to come down to the other guys on the field. So that's how I would approach it.
Well, and I also think you have to wonder how Seattle stack their wide receivers. I think you have to look at things like bunches. Tyler Lockett is a guy you can count on if you're Russell Wilson. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's somebody that you very clearly have great chemistry with. He's somebody that you very clearly enjoy throwing the football to. Between 3 and 3.5 is a really interesting number in this game. Because I think one of these teams is getting blown out. I think, in all likelihood, that's going to be the LA Rams getting torched. I wonder if there is a defensive touchdown on the Seattle side of the football. I think that is a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
I think if Seattle gets a defensive touchdown, and I know this isn't rocket science, but if the Seahawks are able to turn Jared Goff over, because for the record, I think it's a mistake to start him in this game.
It's not if they turn him over. They're going to turn him over. He turned the ball over in the Super Bowl. He's known to turn it over. He will turn the football over in this game. It's just going to be a matter of, hey, once he turns it over, number one, when in the game does that happen? Is that on their second possession of the game in the first quarter? Is that, deep in the game in a critical moment? Like, when does that happen? And how can they bounce back from that? Because this is a game, to me, this game will get into the 20s points-wise. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion. And again, I just feel like the first person to 30 in these games wins the game.
Well, let's keep in mind a couple of things. Not to belabor Jared Goff's frickin' thumb, he was listed as limited. Mm-hmm. And when asked about limited after practice, Sean McVay said, I don't even know what the heck limited means.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff's going to start this game.
Yeah.
He's been throwing. He went through full pregame warm-up last week, not in pads, but he went through the whole throwing drill last week. I mean, he's going to play.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I agree with you. I think they turn him over.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a mistake to start him. I really do. Wolford gave them energy, and I actually thought he threw the ball really well in the second half. I'd have started John Wolford in this game. But I'm not Sean McVay. And we've talked about Sean McVay on this show before. And I think there are some questions to be asked. If Jared Goff comes out terrible, I think you have to have a quick trigger on him.
Yeah, look, I think I don't even disagree with your point about starting Wolford in this game, but I think that the reality is that's just not a realistic that would never happen in this situation simply because Wolford's done it one time. Jared Goff's been doing this thing for however long it's been now, 5, 6, 7 seasons or whatever it is. And he's taken them places, and he has a reputation on the team. Now, again, I completely agree. I would have a short leash. If you get down in this game, we'll see you later, bro. We're putting Wolford in. We'll die on that hill because he played well. He showed you, to your point, some of those throws. It's not just that he threw the ball well. Some of the throws he made against the Cardinals were tight windows. Other throws he made had great touch. So he's more than capable of playing the position. But he's not going to get a shot in this game unless Jared Goff flames.
Yeah, and I don't see Goff flaming. I think it's going to be more the thumb is not option.
Well, that'll be the excuse.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I think the LA Rams are winning this game. I think they cover, or no, I think the Seahawks are winning this game. I think they cover that 3.5. I think they win by a touchdown. And I think you really have to watch if Jared Goff gives up a pick six, or if Jared Goff puts the ball on the ground, fumbles, strip sack.
Yeah.
They're going to blitz him.
Yep.
They're going to hit him. They're going to bring pressure up the middle because it's the thumb he hit on a helmet.
Yeah.
They're going to bring pressure up the middle. So my guess is he's going to be really tested early. I think this game's going to be decided in the first and second quarter. I do.
Yeah, I would agree. If I was the Seahawks, I would test him early as well. I'd blitz the hell out of him early. I do think that this game has the potential to me to come down to a field goal, and the reason I say that is because I do think the Rams are going to score a decent amount in this game and stay with the Seahawks. But if it's just one turnover, okay, you can work with that.
You can live with that.
But if it's 2 turnovers, and certainly if it's 3 turnovers, then the Seahawks are definitely winning this game by like 7 to 10 points. But my gut tells me to go with 1 turnover for Jared Goff. He plays the whole game. It comes down to a kick. That's what I think happens. That's what I think happens.
You're liking a close game. By the way, are we gonna sit out? Are we gonna sit at Casa de Monte in the crib and eat them wings?
Yeah, bro, man, come on, man. Okay, sorry. Back on track.
Kind of got carried away and stuff. Well, I mean, we're gonna eat wings, but anyway, the point is, listen, man. I'm gonna get extra Bowflex workout. I'll get a workout in tonight and tomorrow morning, and then I'm going to be
what it is.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, the drop machine's working today. Anyway, my point is, I love the Seahawks in this game to cover the 3.5, and then there is the game of the day. Tom Brady against the Washington football team.
So I said, yeah.
Tom Terrific, TB12, mouth kissing his son. What? He does. We've seen it on awkward. We've seen it on tape that he does. I love this game. I am excited about this game. Do not dampen my spirit by pointing out that, my God, Chase Young is going to break him in half.
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
No, it's not. Are you telling me? See, here's my question about this game. I am really, 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 really curious. Can Tom Brady get the ball out fast enough to avoid the inevitable body blows that he's going to take from one of the best and certainly the most underrated pass rushes in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Can Tom Brady get the ball out? Can Tom Brady use the Mike Evans of the world, the Chris Godwins of the world, the Antonio Browns of the world?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, the pound it like a porn star Rob Gronkowski's of the world. Can he get the football out? Man, your Donnie drops are on point. Can he get the football out fast enough to survive for another mouth kiss with his son? That's probably too far. But my point is, Tom Brady's got to get rid of the football. Because do not sell the Washington football team's pass rush or defense short. They are there to stay. Chase Young has been sensational at times. They play 3 defensive tackles who can all stop the run and get after the quarterback. Jake, my single question is, how much time will Tom Brady spend on the air?
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly going to get hit in this game. There's no doubt about it. I think, for Chase Young, this is one of those opportunities as a young guy in the league, or a younger guy in the league, to really start solidifying who you are. Like, people know you can play. People know you're a hell of a pass rusher. People fear you as a pass rusher, but now you're in the postseason. In Washington, you're in the postseason, which means it's even more vital that you come through and you perform. Now, to answer your question about Tom Brady and getting the pass out and everything like that, yes, I think what you're going to see in the first 2 possessions of this game for Tom Brady is a steady diet of underneath passes and a steady diet of handing the football off and setting that tone that, hey, I'm not just going to stand back here and let you hit me. Where I think the rubber meets the road, though, for this Bucs team against this Washington defense is if there's incompletions early, if the Bucs don't execute, if there's a lot of 3-and-outs in the first 5 possessions, now you're in trouble because now you're probably going to be behind a little bit and you're going to have to take shots. But knowing Tom Brady, knowing the playoff acumen, knowing the leadership, I would really be surprised if they didn't get the job done.
Knowing he's an 8-point favorite at Washington on the road in the playoffs is a really interesting line. The boys in Vegas love Brady and the Bucs. Not so fast. Mike Evans is not 100%.
I swear to God, if you go with the Washington football team, don't.
What are you going to do?
Don't.
You're going to have Are you going to have an insurrection here on the show?
Don't.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, I am.
Are you going to cause mayhem and dress up like dress up like
The
a goat?
coronavirus.
No, easy. Dress up like a goat and put horns on your head and sit at my desk.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not funny to joke about that, but the point is, you know who I'm going with here.
Don't.
I'm going with the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Thank
Tom
you.
Brady and his fine wife, Giselle. I think they're going to celebrate with procreatorial activities on Sunday morning. Because I think Tom Brady is winning, but not covering. I think 8's too much.
8 points. That is a lot.
On the road.
That's a lot, bro.
In Washington against the football team that doesn't have a name. Landover, Maryland.
It's not going to be like snowing for this game or anything, right?
No, 43 and partly sunny is the forecast.
Okay, yeah.
I'm taking Tampa.
Yeah, dude, come on.
I feel good about Tampa. I don't see any way that, the Bucs lose this game with their dynamic defense. Their linebackers are really fast. I do love Terry McLaurin in that wide receiver group, but I think they're young and unproven. What? Why are you laughing? I think I think that there's no question in my mind Tampa's a better team, and I think in the playoffs usually in the early rounds the better team wins the game.
Unless they turn the football over. That's the only thing that equalizes games like this. So, yeah, I'm going with the Bucs as well. I like this to be another 10-point victory for them.
By the way, and I do think that it's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Tyler wants to know why I have to bring up mouth kissing between men at 6:30 in the morning. Well, what do you mean?
Doesn't make you feel responsible.
I mean, is there a better time to bring it up? If you want to let me know, like, is this a 2:00 conversation?
I want it.
I mean, if you want to let me know what time, I was unaware that there was a protocol for mouth kissing men talk, in the afternoon and stuff.
Sometimes I think I just say shit. Sample what comes out of my mouth.
That's a clip from yesterday's show. But the point is, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Tom Brady did this, Brady Bunch style show on Facebook. Like he had this show created, and there was a scene that was really awkward because there was a long, or how shall I say this, elongated mouth kiss between Tom Brady and his son.
I love that show.
And I'm sure you did. You were single at the time and lonely and thirsty.
Hey, look here, man.
But the point is, you got to do what you got to do. My point is that Tom Brady had an awkward kiss with his son on his Facebook show. Right? You saw it.
Yeah.
It was awkward.
It was elongated, and it was, yeah.
No, the kiss. Stop talking about other men's parts.
No.
No. My point is, it was awkward. Mm-hmm. And so I awkwardly make it awkwardly. But anyway, I think he's going to win. Fine. Let's move to Sunday because now it's awkward.
Now we get real.
Sorry to ruin your breakfast, Tyler. The Baltimore Ravens travel to Smashville to take on the Titans who play in Tennessee. And I think it's interesting in a 4-5 matchup that you're going to have a line in this game that, again, in a 4-5 matchup, favors the 5 on the road. The Ravens are a 3-point favorite in this game. Mm-hmm. And for the life of me, I cannot figure that out because that feels completely wrong to me.
Yeah, it's just that's a respect thing. I think that plays right into the fact that it is Lamar Jackson with his running ability and his ability to create chaos. Now, I will say to that end, he hasn't been the same guy that he was, a year ago, 2 years ago, certainly. But yeah, I think that's probably why the line is there. But again, I'm gonna take the Titans in this game, and it's probably going to come back to get me at the end of the day. But the reason I want to, and I'm going to take the Titans is because when you have that level of running back sitting in your backfield, willing and ready to deliver the hammer to the defense, the defensive backs, the linebackers, when you can do that to a defense, that's game-changing. We've seen it many times. I'm not saying he's going to break out and run for like 250 against the Ravens, but what I am saying is early in this game, when you want to set the tone in a playoff game, you're handing that thing off to Derrick Henry, and you're letting him go to work. And then off of that, that's where they really start to thrive. So that's why I say they are built to run. This is what they do, and I'd be really surprised if they were not able to get the run game going.
This is incredibly disrespectful to the Titans. And somebody needs to tell the boys in Vegas to tighten up. That's their slogan.
Oh, because it's okay. Got it.
See what I did there?
Yeah, okay,
I mean, it's natural ability I have. Anyway, the point is, the Titans are a frustratingly inconsistent team at times.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who showed last week that he can straight throw the football down the field, that when it counts, he can throw the football down the field, because you have to really be weary of the play action in Tennessee, because the point you made is exactly right. Derrick Henry is an absolute threat to house the football every single time he gets it. He is physical. Their offensive line is more than capable of opening up holes. And once Derrick Henry gets to the second level, he is a real problem. And in my mind, I think Tennessee wins this game. And I say that because I'm not telling you that the Ravens defense is bad. They're not the same Ravens defense we've seen over time.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like the Titans are ready to go home yet. Now, I could be completely wrong about this. The other aspect of this game I think that has to be talked about is how confident are you that Lamar Jackson's a guy who can put a team on his back and ride it, and they can ride him to the Super Bowl. I am not a Lamar Jackson guy. I think the league is caught up to him.
Certainly.
And they have not made adjustments to the way he plays.
Certainly. Yeah, I completely agree. I think the league is definitely caught up to him just the same way the league caught up to Kyler Murray this year. And I think for Lamar, the problem is that he is not a guy that came up into the league with great throwing mechanics and great touch on the football and like elite ability to put the football in places that are tight windows but are more than catchable balls for his wide receivers. And I think, yes, he's made some great throws over his career. Yes, he can throw it good enough to get the job done, but this is the postseason now. We're not talking about Week 5 against the Jaguars. This is a huge game, and if I'm the Titans in this game, I'm pissed off about what happened in Green Bay, and I'm taking that out on Baltimore. And I would love to say that the Titans will turn him over at least one time to get an extra possession that they really, weren't going to get. And I think if that happens and they do what they always do on the ground, I think they're going to win this game. But I don't know, man. It just, for some reason, with the Ravens, we're not at a point yet where we can say they're not a dangerous team. Because they frankly are a dangerous team. He can make things happen. But he just hasn't done that. He hasn't been the same guy this year. So it's hard to weigh, hey, will Lamar have a huge game? Or is the more likely outcome that the Titans are going to run the hell out of the football? They're then going to work play action off of that, and they're going to have their way. That's what I feel like is going to happen in this game.
Well, it's interesting. The one thing you didn't bring up was J.K. Dobbins. And I think Dobbins has really become that 1A, or, the 1A to Lamar Jackson being 1. And I think that's something that the Ravens needed. But Lamar Jackson has not played well in the playoffs. And I want to say he's 0 for 3 in playoff games at this point. I mean, I think he really needs this game. And I think he's going to be pressing. And, again, I happen to think Mike Vrabel's done a really nice job in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I think that the Titans are going to get this win. I think it's going to be the upset of the weekend because I think a lot of people view the Baltimore Ravens as a Super Bowl contender, and rightfully so. I mean, they have talent. I just don't think they're getting enough out of Lamar Jackson. You can only run for so long. And I'll say again, at some point, the quarterback is going to have to stand in the pocket and deliver the football down the field to win a championship. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson's never shown the ability to do that, especially in the playoffs. And I think that does not change Sunday in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Titans to tighten up in this game. Well, okay. I'm not going to talk about the Bears. I'm going to talk about the Browns and the Steelers. Can we just get it out of the way? Are we taking the Browns to the Super Bowl, man?
I do that every day, but
reference.
Okay.
The toilet reference. By the way, the toilet's getting replaced on Monday.
Yes.
Anyway, the point is, listen to me. The Browns are ravaged by coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate what's going on with Stefanski. A couple other coaches. A lot of critical players on this team. They're one of the best left guards in football. It's really unfortunate because the Browns are one of the best stories of the postseason. Your guy, who you have one of those, what do they call those wall stickers you have of naked
Fatheads.
Baker? Fatheads. You have a naked Baker Mayfield fathead to go with your Baker Mayfield blow-up doll.
Just take it nice and easy, okay? Just relax.
By the way, is that marker or did you glue on your own facial hair onto Baker Mayfield to make the 5 o'clock shadow?
It was Sharpie.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, that's awkward. The point is, you're a huge Baker Mayfield guy. Can Baker Mayfield overcome the coronavirus on this team? And somehow, some way, anyway, is it possible to beat the Steelers on Sunday?
No, because he's going to turn the football over 2 to 3 times in this game. And this game's going to get out of hand, in my opinion. I think the Steelers are an outright better team. I think the Steelers' defense is more than capable of winning this game on their own without the offense having to do really too much or do anything extraordinary. And this is where, if you're Baker Mayfield, this is where your ability to turn the football over so much comes back to get you. I love Baker Mayfield. I love his ability to make plays. I love the chaos that he's able to kind of generate by rolling out and the things he's able to do. But the guy turns the football over too much. You take risks you shouldn't take. You should throw it away more often. And that's why I say, we're not at Oklahoma anymore, bro. You can't just throw the ball anywhere you want to, and your guy's going to go and get it. That's not how the NFL works. And so that's why I say, when he's in the moment, he's rolling out to his right, everyone's covered. What does he decide to do? Does he throw it away and make the responsible choice, or does he try to play hero ball and fit it into a tiny window and double coverage? And that's why I say I don't think they really have a shot in this game, and I hope that I'm wrong, because you're right. I am a Baker guy. I love the story of the Browns. I love what they do. I love Chubb, and I love everything they got going, but I just don't think that this is their time.
I wish it was, because I think the Browns are fun.
Yeah.
I think it's been too long since the Browns have been a serious contender. I mean, I remember watching the fumble game. I remember watching Bernie Kosar take this team into the playoffs. I miss the Browns being good. They're not going to beat the Steelers. Forget it. It's over. And I hate saying that, but the reality is that when you look at where the Browns and the Steelers are, they're in two different places. The Steelers are an elite football team, which is why they're a 6-point favorite in this game at home. And I think it's much more than that. Yeah. I think this is a 17-point win, walking away from the Browns for the Steelers. And I'd like to keep talking about this game so I don't have to talk about the Bears going to the Saints.
Wait, did you say it was a 17-point win?
Yeah, it comes before 16 or hello, it comes after 16 before 18. I'll take my socks off.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I didn't do my math homework. It comes after 16 and before 18. 17?
Nice job. Good
17
job.
magazine?
Yeah, good job.
Read it every day. I think they're 17 point. They're going to win this game by 17 points, walking away from the Browns.
Man, that'd be a tough loss. That's an ass kicking.
But you're going to struggle to protect Baker.
Yeah.
Baker's going to have to run for his life.
Yep.
He's going to turn the football over. And I think that Steeler defense is going to eat.
Yeah, probably, man. I agree. I think it's over 10, 17 or 12 or whatever it ends up being. Anywhere in there, I would agree. I just hope that they don't embarrass themselves. I mean, it's one thing to lose and lose to a better team, and that's just how it was. But it's another thing to turn the football over 3 times and look bad doing it, So for their sake, I just hope that they at least play a solid game.
Yeah, and I think you need to keep an eye on Juju Smith-Schuster and his situation in this game because just keep an eye on it. I think that Claypool is a huge figure for the Steelers in this game. So we'll see how all that goes. Then we got to talk about the Bears.
All right, cool. Let's move on. All right.
Who dey? I have to believe they get torched in this game. I'd like to think they wouldn't. I would love to sit here and tell you. I'd love to sit up on this dais and tell you that the Chicago football team, known as the Bears, are going to go to New Orleans and win. They're not. They're going to get their ass kicked. They're not. I mean, maybe you should handle this game because I'm probably too emotionally tied to it. You know, and look, listen. I love the Chicago Bears. Are you kidding me? Like, hello? This is the shit. My point is, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're going to lose. And the thing that I'm worried about, let's talk worst case scenario for the Chicago Bears.
They lose by 30.
No, they win. Because then for sure Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are coming back.
Yeah, that'd be a problem.
Okay, they lose by 30. Fucking fire those guys.
We'll see ya.
You're out. You're out. Like, that would be amazing. Best case scenario is the Bears don't score and they give up like 79 points. Like, I would rejoice.
Status.
I would rejoice. I would rejoice if it was Alabama versus Florida A&T Technical Culinary School.
We're getting somewhere.
I would rejoice if it was a score like that.
Yeah.
Because as a bitter Chicago Bear fan, I want Matt Nagy's ass fired.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, some way, I think this is going to be a close game because Drew Brees ain't that guy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bears have had protection issues. I'm not going to make a comment joke.
I'm not doing it. I'm not
Grow
playing
up.
into your childish games.
Grow up. Clear on that? Yeah, grow up. The point is, I think the Bears have had protection issues. I think this defense in New Orleans is underrated. And I think they probably win this game by 14 points.
Yeah. Why is it that there's some sense in this conversation about this game that the Bears are going to be in this game? Like, there's just something there. Like, they always find a way to play a really down and dirty game with whoever they're playing, and it's a low-scoring, grind-it-out kind of game, and the only thing working against that is the fact that it's the Saints. And that's a high-powered offense. You know, Taters is going to come into the game and sling the ball down the field when Drew Brees inevitably gets smashed. You know, like, I want the Bears to be better. But they're not, and they need to lose this game. So next year when we're sitting on this podcast talking about the Bears, Deshaun Watson can be their quarterback, and they can actually have a chance of going to the Super Bowl. Speaking
of smash, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button while we talk about the demise of the Chicago Bears. Appreciate you subscribing on our YouTube channel. Just search The Monty Show on YouTube, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube, and hit subscribe.
See, that's a professional transition. Good job.
Here's the reel on the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're going to be in this game. If I was putting my money on this game, I would think that it would be within a touchdown in the fourth quarter. I think Mitchell Trubisky's good enough if they let him be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think that this Saints defense is going to overcome, and I think they're going to get a critical turnover because inevitably Matt Nagy won't run the football. Yeah. And David Montgomery will be marginalized late. They'll hand him the ball 7-8 times on the opening drive. They will forget he's even on the roster in the third and fourth quarter.
So you're thinking like 30-24 Saints?
I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of, like, what's Vegas say? I didn't even look at the number on this game. 47. 47. That tells you they don't think the Bears are going to score much.
Yeah. So they're thinking it's going to be like, what, 20?
I think this is going to be a 30-17 kind of game.
Yeah.
30-21. I think it's over the 47.
Yeah.
I think the Saints cover it's over the 47. But, you know, honestly, I think it's within a touchdown in the fourth quarter. And then the Saints will probably pull away late.
Yeah, I agree.
So, you know, that's me. But, and I try to take my fandom out of it. Frankly, when we talk about sports on this show, I truly do try to be objective.
Unless it's the Cubs, and then, you know, it's just,
Bro, by the way, did you hear about this this scandal. And before we get to Urban Meyer, speaking of scandals, did you hear about the baseball scandal that came out today?
No.
A text message between Garrett Cole and a Los Angeles Angels employee that was fired has been submitted as in evidence in a wrongful death lawsuit. The message dated January 17th, 2019.
Right.
Says, "Hey, Bubba, it's Garrett Cole. I was wondering if you could help me out with this sticky situation," with a wink. "We don't see you until May, but we have some road games in April that are in cold weather places. The stuff I had last year seizes up when it gets cold." I mean, he's asking this guy to help him put dirt on a baseball. This employee that was fired, Brian Harkins, was fired in March after 40 years with the Angels, after the organization was informed by Major League Baseball that he was providing pitchers with an illegal blend of rosin and pine tar to put on baseballs. I mean, that's a pretty serious thing.
It is.
And I would also remind you that the names that are in this thing are legit. During the interview, Harkins claimed and called out by name Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, Edwin Jackson, Max Scherzer, Felix Hernandez, Corey Kluber, Jabba Chamberlain, Adam Wainwright, and Tyler Chatwood,
Jesus.
amongst a small group of pitchers he works with. Harkins also named several current and former Angels, including Troy Percival, the closer, Brendan Donnelly, Kevin Jepsen, Cam Bedrosian, Kenyon Middleton. I mean, like a laundry list that includes Dylan Bundy, who all use the blend to cheat baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a big deal.
Yep.
And he is, I mean, all of these text messages he's submitting, these are not small names. I mean, Verlander, Scherzer, and Garrett Cole are three of the highest paid and most respected pitchers in baseball.
Hall of Famers.
I mean, yeah, Hall of Famers. Although Garrett Cole's going to have to go a little longer, but Scherzer and Verlander are Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big story.
This is a problem. I mean, this is if it's deemed true that they were doing this, and I mean, it is text messages, so I mean, it seems like it is. It seems legit. I mean, you know, you need a little more evidence than that, but it does seem legit. This is career-ending stuff. This is like, I mean, this is.
But what are you going to say to Scherzer and Verlander? Just is coming off a TJ.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
what are you going to say
like,
to Garrett Cole, who's one of the highest-paid players in baseball?
You're going to flip him the bird and say you're suspended for a season. That's what you're going to do. Yes, you are.
Here. The fuck? Like, they're not going to suspend Garrett Cole for a season.
Dude.
Over court testimony involving text messages. You really think?
Dude, if this gets farther down the road, yeah, right now they're not going to roll out a suspension. But if it gets proven that he did that, they will suspend him, and it will be
from
without
his
pay.
number. He even called him Bubba, which this guy is known universally throughout baseball.
Right, but there's no proof of actually what he's asking for. There's no proof of what he's specifically asking for.
Yeah. I mean, if you're MLB, you're talking to Garrett Cole, right?
Of course you are. And this is a horrible look for the league. Once again, coming off the heels of what the Astros did, now we're talking about this, all of this on the heels of the steroid era situation that had finally cooled off, and you know we were finally able to let that go. The league is dirty, dude. I mean, pitchers are. It's not good enough to just be a really talented guy who's a great pitcher. You always got to be cheating. You always got to be doing something, and that's one of the things that really disappoints me about Major League Baseball. As a baseball guy, as a guy who played a little bit of college baseball, who grew up playing the game, like there's just no reason for it.
Well, do you happen to remember the mix of pine tar and resin that you used? Or
no, because I didn't use any, and that's probably why I'm not playing.
That's probably true. I mean, that and 46-mile-an-hour fastballs aren't going to get you anywhere.
Like, it's so frustrating that all these guys want to do is cheat. That's all they want to do. They don't want to work hard for it. They don't want to, like, it is very frustrating.
Yeah. Well, another scandal in baseball breaking this morning. Obviously, we'll follow that and keep it going on the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. First, find us on YouTube. Just search The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. By the way, Jake, do you realize that's the number one way people are discovering the show?
Yep.
Searching the term The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. Search that out, and please hit the subscribe button. It makes a big difference for us here on the show. We are rapidly approaching our first 100. And if you don't know, we made some content changes, and you can blame Gabe Ledley, our good friend Lopes fan Gabe. We are cutting up highlights of the show now and posting those as well. Mm. They've got their own playlist. It's official and stuff. In things. So make sure you follow us on YouTube. There's a ton of great content. The Monty Show, M-O-N-T-Y, The Monty Show. Let's talk about Urban Meyer getting hired by those Duval.
All right, start the clock, all right? It's going to be about a year and a half before a sexual assault allegation comes out.
15 minutes. Urban Meyer is going to be in Jacksonville for an interview to be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars today. And in 100% all seriousness, Urban's had a checkered past. He has a history, I dare say a laundry list of allegations against coaches and players that work and play for him of heinous crimes, domestic violence, murder, sexual assault, attempted murder. There are accusations that he fosters an atmosphere of lawlessness amongst his players. And that spilled out very publicly at the Ohio State when one of his assistant coaches was found to have been a serial domestic abuser, and Urban and his wife knew about it, according to testimony and text messages. And yet it continued. And the coach continued to be employed by Urban Meyer at the Ohio State. Jake, would you hire him to be your NFL head coach?
Nope, wouldn't do it. And I think once you hire the guy and something happens, you're 100% responsible. And I think inevitably what's going to happen here is they are going to hire him. Everyone's going to be all excited about it. And then in 6 months to a year, something's going to happen, and we're all going to say we're surprised, and Urban's going to cry, and everything's going to be, right back to where it always is. And
I'm sorry, did you say that?
Yeah, dude.
I thought you said that Urban's going to cry.
Yeah, he's gonna
shed tears.
He's gonna disappear, and he's gonna say that he needs time for his mental health, and it gets old after a while, dude. Like you're the guy who is an absolute asshole, and you're the guy who's really good at coaching football and is able to fail forward your entire career. Yeah, you win football games, but you damage lives doing it, and that's not something that I'm willing to risk or humor or anything. I'd rather be a losing organization than hire Urban Meyer.
Well, I think there's a couple of things at play here. Obviously, one, he's won everywhere he's been. Bowling Green, Utah. Yeah, I mean, obviously he changed the game at Utah completely. He was a big part of being the original BCS Busters for the Utes. I think that there was a significant change in fortunes for Utah when he was hired. He goes to Florida, they win. Aaron Hernandez allegedly committed murder while he was a player for Urban Meyer at Florida. He goes to Ohio State. He wins, and wins big. And there's domestic violence. There is, player issues, academic issues, all kinds of issues surrounding Urban Meyer. But what's the common denominator there? He won, and he wins everywhere he goes. He's universally respected everywhere he goes. I think if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you essentially are the home of the Florida Gators, where Urban Meyer, partially built his legacy. Mm-hmm. Tim Tebow was his best pupil. Mm-hmm. Tebow's a huge name in Jacksonville. Urban Meyer's a huge name in Jacksonville. You're burning it to the ground, and you are starting over, including at the quarterback position. I don't think you have any choice but to try and hire Urban Meyer, because you can't find a better candidate to be an X's and O's coach. The Wild West that has sometimes followed Urban Meyer and his players is vastly more acceptable in the NFL than it is in college. I think if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars and Shad Khan, I try to hire Urban Meyer today.
Yeah, great. Try to hire him. He's your best opportunity to win. Awesome, I get it. But at the end of the day, what I'm telling you is inevitably a year from now, 18 months from now, when it comes out that something happened on this team, it's on Urban and it's on the ownership of the Jaguars. That is how this should be handled.
What does that look like when you say when something happens? What does that look like?
When his running back or when his wide receiver or when his defensive lineman goes Greg Hardy on their girlfriend, right?
Goes Greg Hardy.
Yeah, when something on that level happens, because it will happen. That's on the ownership of the Jaguars. How are we so comfortable just saying, "Oh, that's fine. That's fine. It's more acceptable in the league." How is that? How is that even a thing? How are we as people, as NFL fans, as the league itself is concerned? How is it okay to just say, "Oh, well, he's got some stuff in his past, but it's fine. He wins everywhere he goes." No, that's not how it should be. Unfortunately, that is how it is. That's the reality of the situation. They are going to hire him because he does win everywhere he goes, and he is a hell of a football coach. There's no doubt about it. He gets the best out of his players, and that's why he wins.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what I'm saying here, and maybe this is a holier-than-thou thing, maybe this is like, maybe the world will never be this good, but what I'm saying is if you're going to hire Urban Meyer, I don't care who you are, you better know that you are going to be in trouble at some point in his tenure. That's just going to happen.
That's the reality of it. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, there have been a lot of blow-ups. I just got a CBS Sports alert that it is expected to happen today.
Yeah, they're going to hire him, dude.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville's probably down the road. All right, can we switch gears and rip Kyrie Irving? I mean, talk about Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets for a while. How about this situation last night? If you didn't see it, it was spectacular. It blew up Twitter. Kyrie Irving no-called, no-showed on the Brooklyn Nets last night. And Steve Nash, the head coach of the Nets, well-respected guy, also a point guard, historically, arguably.
Hall of Famer.
Well, no doubt a Hall of Famer, but arguably the best point guard in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
The head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. Tries to call, tries to text, repeatedly calls. Does not get a return call, does not get a return text. Before tip-off, Kyrie Irving texted several of his teammates and said, it's a personal matter, I'm not playing tonight. Sources close to the situation said that Kyrie Irving just didn't feel like it. His words were, "I just don't feel like playing tonight." Other sources said that it was directly related to the assault on the Capitol and how the rioters who defaced and destroyed the houses of Congress were given a free pass, and that it was hanging over his head and he didn't feel like playing last night. Well, that's all well and good. And if you're Kyrie Irving and you feel like the events of Wednesday made it so that you couldn't emotionally play a game on Thursday, I can respect that. What I can't respect is you literally saying, "F it," which is what he said. "I'm not playing tonight. I don't effing feel like it," was a direct quote from Kyrie. And what I can't get over is that you don't have the balls to call or text Steve Nash directly. That I cannot get on. I cannot get on with. And by the way, it should be said, Kevin Durant is out another 5 days doing a coronavirus quarantine.
Yep.
Because he had exposure.
Not by choice, man.
So Kevin Durant cannot play. So no-call, no-show. And by the way, the Nets were better for it. They won the game. And they won it convincingly. And LeVert started and played well. Headband Joe Harris.
My God.
Shot the lights out. And so I can't help but think of it. And while I was walking up to you at Harmon's last night, after almost getting run over by a car, legit, walking through a parking lot, a guy in an old BMW SUV backed up, bumped me with his car to the point where I pounded on the side panel, and he got pissed I put a dent in his car.
You dent in his car?
I did. Well, because I'm walking behind the car. A quick story. I digress. Jake, Jake doesn't, we don't live together, right? So it's after work. I needed a laundry list of items from Harmon's. So I go to the grocery store. Harmon's is a grocery store here in Utah.
By the way, amazing grocery store.
Yeah, love it. There's one right by our house in South Jordan. So I put on the 18-layer parka, pull out the Beaver Creek, Vail, Colorado skull cap.
Yeah.
Head for Harmon's.
Yep.
Park my Jeep. Walking out of the Jeep, walking up, and I pull into the parking lot, and I see your POS STI, right? That's what it's called, a POS WRX STI.
Yes.
Of course, backed into the first parking spot.
Of course.
And so I'm like, wow, I think that's Jake's car. So I park, and I'm walking up to it to do some snarky Instagram post. And I'm walking, and this car just backs right into me. And so he didn't, like I yelled, I was like, whoa! He didn't stop. So yeah, I took my fist and I hammer punched the rear quarter panel of his car.
Okay. And was this guy older or something?
No, younger. He was probably early 20s.
Really?
He was with his girlfriend, who when I hit the car, she squealed. She was like, ah! And he still didn't stop. And then finally he stopped and he rolled down his window and stuck his head out. And he's like, you're paying for that. And I try not to curse on this show, but I was like, F you! Maybe watch where you're going.
Suckmyass.com.
And so I walk into the front door of Harmon's, and who do I see? Jake pulling his groceries out of his car. And the guy, I turn around, and the guy had gotten back in his BMW and was driving away.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we? Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. And then that's being better without him because they are better without him.
Yeah. So it brings me, oh, I know. For once you said something that makes sense. It brings me back to your feeling that the Nets will be better the day that he gets hurt and is out for the season.
Yeah, because that's going to happen. Like that's inevitable. Kyrie's done that every single year. And, last year with Durant, in the Achilles thing, that was the first year Durant had really missed significant time in his career. And so, yeah, I think this Nets team is going to be a lot better. Once KD's the main guy, you've got Joe Harris standing in the corner, you've got LeVert running the wing, and that's that. Like, they're going to be in a good place.
The Stever is in on the show.
Oh, boy.
And the Stever says, I'd like to be known as Headband Stever. And he says, rest in peace to the Capitol police officer who passed away.
Did you see that there's a federal murder charge out on that?
Yes. Officer Sicknick of the United States Capitol Police Department passed away from injuries sustained trying to fend off rioters at the Capitol on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Stever, of course, Headband Stever, is our special forces guy. And, Stever, you can be Headband Stever. Yeah. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
Stever also made the point, he's a special ops guy, so when he DMs me, they disappear. Like, I have to read
30 seconds, right?
I don't even know how long it is, to be honest with you. I just know I can see it there, and if I don't read it quickly enough, it disappears.
Got it.
So, anyway, here nor there. My point is, he makes a really good point, though, about Kyrie.
Yeah.
When you're paid all that money and a franchise sells out to get you, and then you go back to Boston where you used to play and you use like sage and you burn, literally, Kyrie Irving walked around TD Bank Garden burning sage to get rid of the bad juju of his flat earth self in Boston. You better not say, I don't effing feel like it. Because to Headband Stever's point, he said, I don't get to say I don't effing feel like
neither do we.
Going out and working because he's in the military.
Yeah.
And neither do we.
And it's not a choice. And for Headband Stever, he's got coronavirus 3 times because he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. And I just think it speaks to that spoiled athlete thing.
Yeah. And Kyrie is totally he's a petulant child, dude. That's what he is. He thinks he's way better than he is. Yes, he is a great player. Yes, he is one of the best point guards the league has seen. I mean, everything's cool as far as him as an on-the-floor player, personality aside. Player Kyrie, great player. Could really get it done. But personality Kyrie, stuff like this is why he's never going to be regarded as a winner. Like,
no, Jake, this is why he will never be a likable figure.
Yeah.
It's why he is always going to be viewed as a risk for teams that sign him.
Yeah.
Because he will move on from Brooklyn. There's almost no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Right? And I think to your point, this only heightens the value of the Slim Reaper, Cadizzle, KD Trey.
Yeah. And I think before it's all said and done, KD is going to have that opportunity that LeBron had when he first came into the league, on the Cavs, and then again when he returned to the Cavs as being the main guy who carries his team as far as he can carry him. And I'm not saying that Kevin Durant, certainly I believe he's good enough to carry your team to the finals. I do think that, but he's never really been in a position to do that. You think about his time in OKC, he had Westbrook, before that relationship fell apart. Obviously with the Warriors, that's self-explanatory, so now looking at the Nets situation, when Kyrie flames out, which I would tell you he's going to be done for the season before Game 40 gets here, when that happens, it's going to be Kevin Durant and that crew of very talented young guys to go into the postseason run. And I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, Headband Stever, you might want to put your hands at 10-2 on the wheel here because Kyrie Irving, he asked what Kyrie's salary is. Kyrie Irving has an AAV of average annual value of $34.1 million.
Yeah.
And he has got this year and 2 more seasons left.
Yeah.
And he's already talking about wanting an extension after this season. He's pretty much said that.
I would not.
I would not either, but after Rudy Gobert got paid,
yeah,
Kyrie wants to be paid more than Rudy Gobert.
And should be paid more than Rudy Gobert.
Well, and Rudy's making $41 million a year.
Kyrie's probably going to be a $50 million a year guy. And that's terrible.
Stop. Man, who
I'm just telling you, that's where the league is at.
Who's paying him $50 million?
Somebody will pay him $50 million. It will happen.
You're high. Nobody is paying Kyrie Irving $50 million.
Okay.
No, nobody.
Okay.
I could see Kevin Durant, who's making that $41 million average salary. I could see Kevin Durant because so far the Slim Reaper's back.
Yeah, he's looked really good. And by the way, he's rested, but not. And I don't even mean just this quarantine period he's had to take. If you think about how long he's not played, 562 days, a significant portion of those rehabbing the Achilles and going through that and working his ass off for that. But that's a lot different than all those minutes running the floor and taxing your body that way. So, I think that did elongate his career a little bit. But yeah, he's fresh, man.
Best player in the NBA right now is?
Right now it's still LeBron, in my opinion. I just think some of the things he continues to do, it just amazes me. Whether it's
did they lose to the Spurs last night?
I don't know, dude.
Their defensive lapses they're a really good defensive team. The Lakers?
Yeah.
How did they lose to the Spurs last night?
It's just, I don't know, dude. It's how does Portland lose to the Bulls? How does Portland... how does that happen? Like, sometimes NBA teams just get tired. Mentally, they're just not there on any given night.
But you know what? You know what this says to me about the Lakers, and I'm probably making way too much about this, but I'm a huge Laker fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch a lot of their games.
Right.
And I know this is probably going to sound moronic. Anthony Davis is not a number one. He's a really good player.
Yeah.
When LeBron retires, if anybody thinks that they can simply just slot AD in as their number one and go get a bunch of dudes, that's not going to happen.
Right.
You are going to need to go and find a number two.
Yeah.
And it ain't Kyle Kuzma.
No.
I think we are fast learning that Kyle Kuzma is not a building block. No. He is a role player.
AD is not. You can't say, hey, AD can carry you to a championship on his own. He's too much. He trends too much towards a big man for that to be the case. He doesn't quite have the athleticism that like guys like LeBron and Durant and these other guys who are more like wing players and three players have. That said, he is certainly the best Robin to your Batman, as I like to say. He's definitely your best 1A guy to pair with somebody, because if you can have a dominant low post force who can shoot the three and who can really play a great pick and roll game, and you have a number one who is willing to pass it, and like LeBron is, you're going to be in great shape, which is why they won a championship, So I completely agree with that.
And I don't want to get too heavy with it. I don't want this to be a thing where I'm saying that Anthony Davis sucks, or I'm not saying that. They won a championship because LeBron was their best player. Mm-hmm. And Anthony Davis created more space for him. The role player, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a huge reason why the Lakers got a ring last year.
Right.
Why the bubble Lakers won.
Yeah.
But make no mistake about it. That team wins and loses with LeBron James. Mm-hmm. LeBron is made better by Anthony Davis. But it doesn't go further than that. And I think there needs to be some perspective on that. Yeah. All right, before we get out of here, because we're in an hour and 5 minutes now.
Yeah.
Where do I go with this? Where do I go with the president? Because I don't want to have some 20-minute conversation about the president.
No, look, I think let's do this. Let me get his little speech from yesterday. So we
let me get his little speech.
Let me get his little speech.
Here's what you know. Riots happen. Donald Trump puts out a video, says, "We love you. You're great people. Go the fuck home. They stole the election from me. All right, peace out." Twitter didn't like that. Facebook didn't like that. Facebook/Insta didn't like that. Snapchat didn't like that. So they block him. They lock his account. He deletes those tweets. Yeah. They put him on a 12-hour cooldown. Only Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat haven't lifted that ban yet. And they say they're not going to for a long time. He's back on Twitter. And what's the first thing he does on Twitter? All right, what are we going to play here? The
concession speech.
All right. The first thing Donald Trump puts on Twitter is this speech.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy.
Wait, hit pause.
To those who engaged in...
He says, I immediately deployed the National Guard.
No, you didn't.
4 hours later, by the way, do you know why it took hours after? So they say National Guard come in. The National Guard then goes to the Pentagon, where they're housed in Washington. Says, all right, man, we need our guns and ammo. MAGA. The people that Donald Trump installed at the Pentagon in the last 6 weeks, after the election, he purged a bunch of staff and replaced them with his minions. Those minions at the Pentagon would not give the National Guard access to body armor, weapons. They put a mandate in place that said you cannot share arms or equipment with local police. Like, they essentially cut the balls off the National Guard.
And to that end, that's why a lot of people are saying Donald Trump planned this. It's a strong thing to suggest.
No, it's not. Based on evidence.
Well, look, but I'm saying we need to understand. I'm not saying it's outlandish. What I'm saying is that we're sitting here saying the United States president planned an attack on the Capitol with his supporters.
The evidence is half of the Capitol Police Department was off. They were told, don't come to work today.
Yeah.
They knew 4 days ahead of time there was a plan in place that they were only going to have standard staffing levels deployed on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday when there were 3 days of planned rallies. They only had standard staffing issues in place.
Yeah.
Or staffing levels in place. They did not put the Guard on standby. They did not have the FBI SWAT team on standby. Mm-hmm. They knew this was going to happen.
Right.
They knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it cost the life of 5 people. Did you see the video of this lady that got shot going into the Capitol?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry she's dead. And this is probably going to piss some people off. We get it, MAGA.
Mm.
I have no problem with her shooting.
Yeah.
This woman that died, this Air Force veteran, and I appreciate her service. I feel for her grandfather who made this unbelievably emotional speech on a TV interview in San Diego. I feel for her husband. But this woman went to the Capitol with the express purpose of creating mayhem. She told people that.
Yeah.
She was the first person to once they got inside the front door of the Capitol, and the Capitol Police, there are videos of them opening up the barricade and not defending the front door. You see the protesters rush in, and they overpower this one cop who eventually is pushed down a flight of stairs. But she's the first person who actually got to the door that leads you to the actual House and the actual Senate and the offices of all of the senators and congresspeople.
Right.
She is there when the window gets broken out. And what has happened is a few Capitol Police have actually thrown a bunch of furniture and filing cabinets in front of these doors to try and keep these people out. And the photo's now famous of these 4 Capitol Police officers, guns drawn, pointed at those windows, yelling at them to stop or we will shoot.
Yeah.
So this woman breaks this window out and then jumps up onto the door frame where the window was.
Yeah.
And she's about to leap through the window, and you see the arm of a Capitol Police officer with a Glock in his hand, a Glock 9mm, fire one time at her.
Yeah.
It hits her in the neck.
Yeah, boy didn't miss.
And, reading one of the articles today, it talked about how much you suffer. Apparently, when you get shot in the neck and you bleed to death, it is not a comfortable death.
Yeah, you drowned, basically.
It is a painful, uncomfortable death. There is close-up video of it. There is a Capitol Police officer in riot gear holding his hand over the hole in her neck, and it's just pouring out blood.
Yep.
And she lays there with this terrible look on her face. And she essentially dies on the floor right there.
Yeah, that's the look of, hey, I'm dying. I know I'm dying, and I shouldn't have been here.
By the way, they did not break through that door.
Nope.
They stopped and went to another door.
It's funny what happens when people start dying, how much that changes your aspirations for getting something done.
Play me that Ted Cruz tape, because I think this is part of the interesting conversation. This Ted Cruz situation.
You want the one from the floor?
Yeah, the one of the night, the one from Wednesday night when he's on the floor. Yeah. Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, the rep from Missouri, both got on the floor on Wednesday night and made impassioned pleas to continue the fight. So I want to play you a part of this Ted Cruz tape because it will blow your mind what he said yesterday in a video he released. This is Ted Cruz on the floor of the House on Wednesday night.
That we are gathered at a time when democracy is in crisis. Recent polling shows that 39% of Americans believe the election that just occurred, quote, was rigged. You may not agree with that assessment, but it is nonetheless a reality for nearly half the country.
39%.
I would note it is not just Republicans who believe that. 31% of independents agree with that statement. 17% of Democrats believe the election was rigged. Even if you do not share that conviction, it is the responsibility, I believe, of this office to acknowledge that is a profound threat to this country and to the legitimacy of any administrations that will come in the future.
So he says that after a Capitol Police officer is on his way to dying, a woman's been shot and killed, 3 others died of medical emergencies, which 2 of them I know for a fact were heart attacks. After our country was under siege, Ted Cruz gets on the floor of the House and says that the election was stolen. Half of the people, 39% is not half, sir, half of the people think it was stolen. And it's a threat to our democracy. No, the people who broke into the Capitol are a threat to our democracy. Oh, wait, you mean he changed his tune when Donald Trump changed his tune? Here's Ted Cruz yesterday in a video he released.
Hello.
Hello.
Internet's letting me down.
Hello.
Just won't. It's right here. Just won't play it. I'm sorry. Nothing I can do here.
I'm Ted Cruz.
I think you have to draw a distinction. I agree with you that the president's language and rhetoric often goes too far. I think yesterday in particular, the president's language and rhetoric crossed a line and it was reckless. I disagree with it. And I have disagreed with the president's language and rhetoric for the last 4 years.
Fuck you! No, you haven't. No, you have not. You have not disagreed with him for 4 years. And this is what really bothers me. Ted Cruz now sees his political future, the career dissipation light blinking in your eye, sir, right? He now sees he's in real trouble. So he's going to get on media interviews and say, well, I've disagreed with Donald Trump for the last 4 years. This rhetoric.
I'll drop that motherfucker.
Yeah, this rhetoric is really dangerous. Yeah, you mean the same rhetoric that you defended on Wednesday night on the floor of the House? That same rhetoric. The hypocrisy is amazing. And it's what, and I'm no huge fan of Mitt Romney, but it's what Mitt Romney said on Wednesday night. When Mitt Romney said, hey, you know how you stop these lies? You know how you stop people from being insecure about the election? You tell them the truth. We sued 61 times and lost. Did anybody see that Dominion now has filed a $1.3 billion lawsuit for libel against Donald Trump's attorneys? And they have filed that. It's in court. As of this morning, it is in process. Tell people the truth. You want to build confidence in the election? You tell people the truth. You do what Mitt Romney said to do, which is you be honest.
Here's some Mitt Romney for you.
Today was heartbreaking.
Man.
And I was shaken to the core as I thought about the people I met in China and Russia and Afghanistan and Iraq and other places who yearn for freedom and who look to this building and these shores as a place of hope. And I saw the images being broadcast around the world, and it breaks my heart. I have 25 grandchildren. Many of them were watching TV.
Wait, 25?
Thinking about this building, whether their grandpa was okay. I knew I was okay. I must tell you as well, I was proud to serve with these men and women. This is an extraordinary group of people. I'm proud to be a member of the United States Senate and meet with people of integrity as we do here today. Now we gather due to a selfish man's injured pride and the outrage of supporters who he has deliberately misinformed for the past 2 months and stirred to action this very morning. What happened here today was an insurrection incited by the President of the United States. Those who choose to continue to support his dangerous gambit by objecting to the results of a legitimate democratic election will forever be seen as being complicit in an unprecedented attack against our democracy.
Yeah. And by the way, Davis makes a great point. Davis says, I voted for Donald Trump twice. I wish I could take it back because I wouldn't vote for the guy who brought harm and death to the United States Capitol. I agree with you, Davis. I wouldn't either. Matt says Ted Cruz is a criminal. I don't know if he's a criminal. He's a liar.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz is a liar.
Classic politician.
Buffalo Barry. You the guy who used to be Barry, the New York Jet fan, is now Buffalo Barry.
Boy, oh boy. That's some Ted Cruz stuff right there.
Bills plus 35. I'm ashamed that I voted for Donald Trump. See, and that maybe is the message that is pervasive now. Is that we're constantly hearing about how people are embarrassed they voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Speaking of embarrassing, real quick, because I know we're at an hour and 20 minutes. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. My wife put a gun to my head and forced me to watch that season, the first season of this show. It was a 12-gauge buckshot, double barrel. She put it right to my head and said, you're going to watch this show.
I love that show.
So I watched every episode, and a couple of those episodes 2 or 3 times. Episode 9 last night was out, and I guess it's on Tuesday night. I watch it on demand. I don't watch it on TV. That show sucks, and I can't stop watching it. But Sharif Shah, the linebacker coach for the Utah Utes, his wife is one of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We hate Mormons.
We get it.
Because that's what that show is, by the way. It's a bunch of women who hate Mormonism.
But they go to church.
No, well, some, but not all
they
of them
go
do.
to church,
No,
bro.
Some of them do, but not all of them do. Anyway, the point is, Sharif Shah's wife is, and I want to be careful. We're talking about somebody's wife, but she's outlandish. I could not be married to somebody who acts the way she acts. Like, she is embarrassing. He is a devout Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there is embarrassment. She is constantly drunk on the show. She is constantly argumentative, violent, acts out in anger, like.
Okay. So what happened to Sharif?
Nothing. She threw him a surprise birthday party on episode 9.
Okay.
And she was loud, drunk, and violent. That's it. Would be.
Yeah, it's just, the thing is like, I don't like that show very much either. It's a tacky ass show, but some of it, I guess it's cool to watch it. Like, I guess we watch shows like that to be like, man, you guys are just scourge of the earth sometimes.
Thongman Stever wants to know if we want.
Whoa! Thongman Stever?
He's gone from Stever to Headman Stever to Thongman Stever. He wants to know if we think President Trump should be removed. Different show, Stever. Yes, he should.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But different show. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
good talk.
So there you have it. By the way, I should say that I kind of look forward to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It's terrible TV, and I can only watch about 20 minutes of it before I want to turn it off. But for 20 minutes, it is what it is. And the chicks aren't even hot. Like, and I think me and my wife talked about this. There's not a hot woman on that show.
No.
So like you're not watching it for eye candy. Like Beverly Hills, like some of the shows you watch for eye candy.
Selling Sunset.
You watch for eye candy. Although
$1 Million House in the Hamptons or whatever that show is called.
Never seen it. Are any of the real estate agents on Selling Sunset hot?
Yeah. There's like one or two.
I don't think so. Anyway, it doesn't matter. My opinion on their looks probably doesn't matter. And my wife is sitting 10 feet away from me, so she could probably not. Anyway, the point is, that's what my TV level is. By the way, I'd like to also say F you, Donald Trump, because you canceled Chicago PD on Wednesday. They did not air the new episode of Chicago PD.
Yeah, we needed more Hank Voight in D.C. yesterday.
Man. Yeah, we probably did.
Yeah.
We probably did. All right. Enjoy your NFL playoff football this weekend. Go Bears. By the way, Coach Matt Nagy commented on the show, and he said, I'm getting fired. He commented on YouTube. Gabe Ledley said, my guys. Gabe, good morning to you. Have a great weekend. Until Monday, say no insurrections, please.
No insurrections, please.
Why are you talking about erections?